I have a confession. I don't know what I want to knit this fall. September is here. There is a little bit of chill in the air, even here in swampy Washington, D.C. I remember when I first started knitting, the minute it turned September, I was diving into sweater knitting. I'm still wrapping up some summer knits now, and I'm getting a little anxious because I don't know what I want to make next. Before I jump down the Instagram Explore page, Pinterest, and Ravelry rabbit holes, I decided to take a step back and assess what I already have. It's kind of been a theme for me this year, so why not do a little sweater audit, show you all of the sweaters I've knit over the past few years, talk about what I like to wear, what I don't like about them, and I think by looking at the things that I like and dislike about sweaters, and also just like the sweaters themselves, what constructions, what materials are they made out of, I think we can make some pretty good choices for when it's time to start sweaters for the fall and winter this year. So fall is a great time to be thinking about what we want to be knitting on for the rest of the year. It's also back to school season, and even if you aren't going back to school, it can be a time to kind of get back to work after a summer vacation or get back to being a little bit more productive. That's why I'm so excited that the sponsor of today's video is Skillshare. I'm taking a learning path on Skillshare about how to grow your first YouTube channel. Learning paths are a collection of classes on one specific topic or theme. This learning path has a lot of great classes like how to start and grow your YouTube channel, how to edit videos, how to speak confidently, how to attract an audience, and I've really enjoyed being able to work through these classes to step up my YouTube game. Skillshare is the largest online community for creatives with thousands of classes led by experts in a ton of different fields like illustration, photography, videography. For all my hobbyists, they have a ton of classes on knitting, crocheting, sewing, embroidery, other classes on the fine arts if you want to try something different like watercolor painting or acrylic painting. My favorite things about Skillshare is they have a learn by doing approach. I know when I was first learning how to knit, nothing really made sense to me until I picked up needles and yarn and tried it myself, and I really like that the classes are focused on having a finished project by the end of the class. To join me in learning something new this fall, I have some good news. First 500 people to click the link in my description will get a free month trial of Skillshare. So go ahead and get started today. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Let me show you my big stack. Don't you love a big stack of sweaters? It's like the most satisfying thing. These are all my sweaters. Here they are. I have 8 knit sweaters to go through that I've knit over the past few years. And let's just like get into it, shall we? So sad to be ruining this pile of sweaters, I'll be really honest with you. But the first sweater I have is my very v-neck raglan. And you may have seen this before if you've watched my knit flip vlog series this spring. I made an effort to update some existing projects in my wardrobe, and this was one of them. I made some minor adjustments to the sweater, like adding a little bit of length, and I also redid the bind-offs on the sleeves just to make things look a little clean. They were looking a little nubby, but this is the Very V-Neck Raglan by Jessie Made Designs, and it is one of my favorite layering pieces and favorite sweaters for the fall. This is knit in Noro Silk Garden Sock in colorway S1, and I believe I knit the medium. I'll link my Ravelry below. It's been a while since I've made some of these sweaters. It's the titular roll. As described in the name, it is a raglan. You can see the raglan increases here. They're very subtle on this sweater, which I really like, and you also pick up stitches to do a little v-neck. When I originally made this, it was really cropped, and you would just kind of like see my belly, and you could kind of see, you would still see it. A little about the sweater, I think the Noro yarn is like a sport to DK weight, and I love how light it is. I love the drape. I even think that this pattern calls for like an even looser gauge, so that could be like a nice transitional piece. I like that I can put this under a jacket. Like some of my other sweaters feel too bulky to put under my winter jacket, but this one slips under things nicely. It's really good for where I live. We have like the transitional seasonal times. Like right now, if I were to go out in a sweater, I'd get sweaty kind of quickly. So something that is light, you can throw in a bag, I really appreciate about this sweater. I also just love the different colors of the stripes. I think it makes it like a colorful neutral, like it goes with everything in that way without being, I think, too in your face with color, and that it kind of works as a neutral. I talked a lot about this sweater on my channel. I won't belabor the point, but this has kind of been a sleeper hit. This is maybe the 3rd or 4th sweater I've ever knit, and it's still one of my favorites that I expect to still get a lot of wear out of this fall. Wow, even putting the sweater on, I just like am kind of hit with memories of when I first made it. This is sweater number 14 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It is an all over cabled drop shoulder design. I knit this in We Are Knitters Touch Me Mohair and their alpaca wool fingering weight yarn, and this really like rich rusty color. This is the most autumnal sweater, and I do love all the dimension of color in the stitches. Like the mohair was a little bit of a lighter orange than the wool. This was the first sweater pattern that I felt challenged by. It felt like it took me so long after kind of making those first bulky knits, and I got a lot of wear out of this when I first made it. However, it is not one of my favorite sweaters today. I think just because of the shape. It's quite wide, and I think it's supposed to be knit with a lot of positive ease, but it just kind of is like boxy. I think for a while I thought felt chic, but like now it doesn't feel so chic as much when I wear it, and it feels just a little like bleh. I do like this layered under like a shearling coat in the fall with like some scarves and accessories, but by itself it leaves just a little bit to be desired. I think my favorite design element are like the bell sleeves. But overall, I actually don't wear this one as much as others. It's also pretty warm with the mohair and the wools held together. Other favorite thing about this sweater though is the shoulder detail. Look at the shoulder. It's also a cable. That was a really big deal to me at the time, and it kind of still is. It's very important and meaningful to me. This sweater number 14 just feels a little meh to me, a little unexciting, but maybe that's just because I've had it for longer. I also have a lot of good memories associated with this sweater. This is the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit. It is knit in Cascade 220 in the colorway Fog Heath. I knit this in the fall of 2022, and I just remember being so excited about this pattern and really like working through it. Looking at it now, it does have a very similar boxy oversized fit that the last sweater I tried on did, but for some reason I feel like that matches the vibe of this sweater. Like when I see the all over cables, I think I liked it because I thought it would be very chic and like polished, but the oversized and nature and fit of it like doesn't give me that, whereas I see all this texture, I see this kind of like oatmeal-y color, I'm already like, yeah, big oversized sweater, like what else would you be doing in that vibe? I did this 2 years ago and get a lot of daily wear. I mean, of course you can see some pilling, but nothing too bad. I also love the eyelets in between each section, and I just love the texture. I love a textured knit. That's something that I've come to learn about myself. I just love this sweater. It's a classic. I think I'm gonna have it until I die. Not to be so dramatic and an Italian grandma about it. I don't know if your grandmothers ever did this, where they go, "When I'm not here anymore, you can have this sweater. You can have this ring." That's gonna be me with this sweater. And I'll give it to my favorite grandchild. I'm just kidding. Definitely one of my favorite sweaters. Casual, comfy, with a little bit of uniqueness to it, and I love telling people that I knit this one because they're always like, and I'm like, moving into more recent knits, this is the Mauricia cardigan by Vert and Rose Knitting. I made this a little over a year ago for my birthday, and this is knit and knitting for Olive Dusty Artichoke held double, and I believe I knit the size 2. This is knit in an all over faux cabling pattern with raglan construction and a knit as you go button band. This sweater, a sleeper hit, kind of like the very v-neck raglan, I think because of its weight and how it fits. It's become such a nice thing that I can throw on and layer with, especially in these transitional times. I loved wearing it this spring, and just like this with my little Sophie scarf was like one of my favorite outfits to wear this spring as like a hand knitted little. I think the color is just darling, and it's both like a little grandma sweatery, a little grandma cardigan-y to me, but also very like sweet and cutesy, dare I say demure at the same time. Like I love the flower buttons. I got this idea from Alexandra Scarn when she made hers. I also love that the ribbing is twisted rib. It just like, it works. It's girly and feminine without being too frilly. And it's, again, everything is working well stylistically. The fabric, the color, the construction, it's all working. And I really just like that it's a raglan cardigan. I definitely would like to make another. I was very intimidated by them when I first started knitting, but they're some of my favorite things to wear. So you kind of have to reconcile with all that purling. It is always so worth it to me. Here's a closer look at the faux cabling. It also makes this just like puffy texture that just feels really nice when you wear it and feels really cozy and fun. My only not favorite thing is the button placement and the button size and the utility of the buttons. The buttons are just too small for what the buttonholes are. Like, it doesn't stay buttoned very easily, but I think that's definitely a button problem that I could fix. I could. Wasn't on the list for things to fix this spring, but maybe next spring or this fall I can put some bigger buttons on this guy. So that is the Mauricia cardigan. This is the extra sweater that was not in the original stack that I forgot about. And this is the Anchor sweater by Petite Knit, another Petite Knit pattern. This is such a classic, I feel like, Petite Knit pattern, and it is, again, kind of a sleeper hit. I love this sweater. I love this sweater so much, and again, I don't know if it's the color, it's a little bit of the construction, it's the ease. It's a great sweater. The only thing that kind of prohibits me from wearing it even more is the neckline. I feel that often when I'm wearing like t-shirts, they cut out in a way that just like doesn't look so cute, because this is more of a boat neck, and it's not even like a boat neck like in construction, but just the way that the ribbing stretches out. This is a circular yoke that is just constructed in 1x1 rib. It was the most fun yoke to knit. You just want to keep going and going, and by the time you get there, you're done. And this is also knit in Knitting for Olive held double. This one is in artichoke purple. I think they still sell it. I think what I like about this one, I kind of also like about the Mauricia cardigan. It is a good layering piece because of its ease. It's not the first thing that I grab for though in the dead of winter. That's more like the Ingrid sweater, but this, again, good for transitional times, for spring and for fall. I like also that the sleeves are tapered. I don't have a lot of things with tapered sleeves because it's not often like my favorite look, but it is often very great for needing to layer into things and put your sleeves into other jacket sleeves in the winter. So that is the Anchors sweater. Fun construction, very also non-fussy in that like it just hangs very comfortably because of the yoke. And even though it is circular, like sometimes you get that like sometimes the yoke is too deep and things get kind of funky around this area, but I feel like she does a few raglan increases here, which help just a little bit. The only thing that you could add to this is some short row shaping on the back if you wanted to, but I kind of like how it hangs, and I've never actually really had too many complaints about it. So this is the Anchor sweater, an oldie pattern, but like such a goodie if you're a beginner knitter. This is such a good foray into sweater knitting and circular yoke knitting, which I think is like some of the easiest construction. This is where things get a little hazy chronologically because I also just re-knit this sweater. So this used to be the Whitmore cardigan. It is now the Lento sweater, and I actually don't have a lot to say about it because I finished knitting it like in May, and I haven't had a chance to wear it yet. It's a raglan design, and you knit kind of a fluffy yarn on a loose gauge. I think it's like 5 or 6 millimeter needles. I frogged a lace yoke cardigan and turned it into this. It is a beloved pattern online as well. Super easy pattern to follow, very non-fussy, and I definitely get the appeal of having a more lighter, looser gauge sweater. Again, I've talked about this sweater I feel like a lot on my channel, and I also haven't worn it that much, so I don't have that much more to say. I'm just kind of excited to start wearing and styling for the fall. This is knit in Mayflower, Easy Care Merino, and Kid Silk, and it's quite warm, I can tell you right now just by standing here. So that is the Lento sweater. It's hard to say like what really is my most worn sweater, but I think this next one and the Ingrid sweater are very close. I think this next sweater kind of hits all the marks for layering ability, dressing up and dressing down, transitional times, color, how the yarn has worn over time, how it fits into my personal style. I think this color, or this sweater, really takes the cake. And this is the Harlow sweater v-neck by Kadri, and this is knit in Roan DK by Primrose Yarn Co. in the colorway Fossil. I bought this yarn when I went to Rhinebeck 2 years ago. It's very meaningful to me because I'm Addison Rae. This is a drop shoulder construction. This is a sweater that makes me want to have more drop shoulder sweaters. I just love it. I love it so much. This is a purple I feel that acts as a neutral. Don't kill me. It is browny. It is very, like, it is so slightly tonal. And I love the 2x2 ribbing that makes things feel a little more like chunky and cozy. And it is a little bit more trendy. I feel like you see a lot of ready to wear, who am I, Miranda Priestley? You see a lot of store-bought sweaters incorporating a kind of a more chunkier graphic rib, and it looks really cute when you roll the sleeves up. It looks really cute with like a high neck tank top layered underneath. It fits pretty easily into like a coat. It's not so oversized that it's unbearable. We have a little less ease, I feel like, than the Ingrid sweater. I think like 1 or 2 inches. It's still pretty generous on the ease side, but this just is a very simple sweater, but it does so much and is so versatile in my wardrobe. This is definitely something, this like vibe, I would definitely love to emulate. It's not lost on me, this is my also most expensive sweater, and I hate having expensive taste. Don't you hate that when you're like, well, I do like the nicest thing? I really enjoyed this yarn, and maybe for a special occasion I would buy it again. What's really special about it is it's a combo of superwash and regular non-treated wool, and it just creates such a sturdy fabric, one that also doesn't like age really horribly. There's some pilling, but it's not horrible, and it has almost this like stretchiness to it that has that like store-bought quality, and I like the gauge in which that it is knit. It's just one of my favorites. Oh, this also has a really cute shoulder design. It has a little I-cord on the shoulders, which that is like I think my favorite part about this sweater, and I just get so much wear out of it. It's a great Zoom call sweater, but our sweaters are meant so much more than to just wear on Zoom calls. I don't like always knitting the same thing twice, and I haven't really done that yet, except for like a summer top, but this might be one. I don't even think this year, but like maybe next year I will. It's just so good. You'll hear me wax poetic about it. One of my favorites. If the sweater number 15 was when I felt like a knitter, knitting this sweater really kind of upped that feeling. And I had the same level of satisfaction and gratification when I finished this sweater. And this is the Folklore cardigan by Amy Gunderson. It is knit up in Kelborn Woolen Scout in natural and charcoal heather, and it is inspired of course by the Taylor Swift Folklore cardigan, and I like mine better than the one that she sells. Of course I do. I made it with my own 2 hands. It's a panel construction cardigan. It gives a lot of structure to the knit that my other knits may not necessarily have. It has this really just like perfect, the varsity striping is delicious. I love it. And the back is really like the biggest piece of cabling in work. I knit this sweater last Christmas, and this has also been a really versatile piece in being able to dress up and dress down. It looks cute with sweatpants. I also wore it with like a black mini skirt and boots kind of buttoned up like this. It's just so cute, and it's very warm and comfortable. The only thing that I don't love about the sweater is that the Kelborn Scout is a little pilly. It's just like more pilly. You can even see it already. It's not even focused. Up here, it just gets like fuzzy in a way that's not my favorite. I don't think you can super notice it as someone who's not looking down at the sweater closely, but I notice it and it's there. Now that I'm looking at my sweaters, I don't have a lot of just like actual neutrals, and this being white and black really makes it easy to style. But I do feel like this is something that like fills a very specific role in my wardrobe, and I don't think I need multiple cabled cardigans. And it's so cozy. I don't want to take it off, I'm gonna be honest, but yeah, this is my folklore sweater. Talking about sweaters that fill a specific role, I feel like this next one really does that. This is the Loom Pullover by Sari Nordlund. It is a traditional Fair Isle circular yoke sweater knit in, this is the other Cascade sweater, so this is Cascade 220 in the colorway suggested by Sari Nordlund. I also don't have too much to say about this sweater other than that it's very cozy and warm and it was really fun to knit. But I just finished this also in the springtime and I didn't get a super lot of time to wear this, and it's just like a little bit warmer than I think my climate allows for. Like it has to be pretty cold for me to wear this comfortably, with the combo of it being like very warm here because of the color work. Oh my god, look how fun that is on the inside. That looks inappropriate, but because of the color work it's very like thick, and the high neck obviously because it's a circular yoke. This is my first color work sweater, and I honestly have a hard time looking into the camera and not into like the viewfinder when I wear this sweater because the contrast just looks really nice on camera. I had a lot of fun knitting this sweater. The yoke was also very engaging when knitting it. You wanted to keep moving on to the next motif or the next line. I believe the sweater is inspired by water lilies, and I just love the botanical natural motifs in the sweater. I haven't worn it too much, so I can't say a lot about like its role and how it works. Something that I noticed, and I think I was wearing this on Zoom just because of how the sweater looks like, and it's circular, and so I feel like a circular yoke tends to just like hang on the body in a certain way, is that I feel like I look all like shoulders in this sweater, but I think it's just I'm not used to wearing things with maybe this high of a neck that aren't just like a turtleneck, because it doesn't feel like a turtleneck. It's not, it's different. So it's just like a little bit of a different style that I think I still have to kind of play around with when I work it into outfits this year. So that has been a kind of comprehensive look at what we're working with. Things that I've noticed while we've been doing this, I have a lot of DK worsted weight sweaters. I usually like to knit things on a 4mm gauge, and it does offer a wide variety of different like weights and gauges within that needle size that I can work with and work within my wardrobe. I equally like a statement piece as much as I do like a very solid basic, and I appreciate that something can be worn through multiple seasons and it doesn't have like maybe a super specific use case. Although this might be the year that I want to make a Christmas sweater, we'll see. Something that I was thinking about is making some more lighter gauge sweaters this fall, maybe not completely fingering weight, but like even just a sport weight I tend to shy away from, but I think can provide a lot of versatility for me and where I live. I seem to like high contrast. I knit 2 black and white sweaters basically last year. This is kind of more of like a gray, but I like pops of color as well. That's kind of like very vague, but I could see myself using some more bright colors this fall. So I hope you enjoyed this little look. I know I did. It's like just kind of, I think it's important to take stock of what you have, and I also just like trying on my things and kind of feeling good about all the progress that I've made over the years in my knitting. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in. Let me know what you're inspired by this fall, and let me know what your favorite sweater is in your collection, and I will see y'all soon. Bye!